John and Ken Show, John Cobell and Ken Shampel. We're going to talk to Joe Bonaminio now, the father of the Riverside police officer, Ryan Bonaminio, who was shot dead on Sunday night by Earl Green. Green had stolen a truck cab, and Bonaminio was chasing Green after a hit-and-run accident. Bonaminio was lured into a park by Green, and somehow Green got a hold of Bonaminio's gun and shot him. Yeah, that's right. Green shot the officer with his own gun. We'll give you more details on Green's rap sheet, which is extensive. But let's get Joseph Bonaminio, the father, on now. Hey, thanks for coming on, and our sympathies for the worst news any father can get. We're really sorry that all this happened.
That's fine. I appreciate you guys' call. I appreciate your interest. And just to let you know, you're my wife's inspiration when she comes home from work at night, and she loved the work you did when my son was in Iraq in 2003. And she's just happier than punch with you guys. And I think you guys do some of the best work in Southern California. And I really appreciate the fact that you're even allowing me to have this conversation with you guys.
Well, that's awfully nice of you. I mean, considering what you've gone through. I got 3 sons. I mean, I can't imagine this, especially since he was in Iraq for so long, and you probably worried every day about getting that call, like all military parents do, and then this happens.
Yeah. I always used to say I was concerned about my son, but I never worried about him, and I don't know if that makes any sense. But you know, being a soldier once myself, it's always in the back of your mind that something like that can happen, and you know, but for this to have happened on our soil in our backyard is just. I don't understand it. I don't understand the logic.
How did you get the news?
One of my son's best friends, John Enriquez, who's also my daughter's boyfriend, they went to the academy together, and John's on the UCR police department, and they're very close friends. And he called me at about 10:15 Sunday evening, and he just, I could tell by the stammering something was wrong, but I didn't know exactly the extent of what was wrong. And he kind of stammered a little bit, and I said, John, do me a favor, just be straight up with me and tell me what's going on and what's happened. And that's when he told me that, you know, my son was gone. And shortly after that, we went down to Riverside Community Hospital, where it seemed like it took an eternity to finally be able to see our son. I tried to talk my wife out of it. You don't want to remember your son this way. You want to remember him the way you saw him last, with his smiling face. And she's really distraught more about the fact that she didn't talk to him Sunday, and she always talked to him every day and always wished him well and told him always to be safe. And that's the tragedy. The real tragic part about it is, we now have a memory that we really don't want, but unfortunately, my wife she is his mother. And
that's the way mothers are.
Yeah, and as men, I don't think we will ever understand what women go through bearing children. But she's the rock around this house. She's the reason my son was as well mannered as he is. And
talk about him. Describe his 27 years.
Where do you start? He was a very generous, a giving person. He always had a smile on his face for anybody he talked to. The local business owners in the north end of Riverside that he would visit would welcome him with open arms. He'd come in and how you doing? And always give him a smile, pat on the back. And I mean, I'll just meander back and forth if that's okay, because chronologically speaking, it's really hard for me to do that. But
when did he get his interest in military and law enforcement? At what age?
He got in the involved in the military end of it when he was in high school. He was he was going to cheat out on going into the into gym, whatever, physical ed. And he thought he would get involved in the Marine Corps ROTC program, which was a big mistake because there's no forgiveness there, And they took my son in, and Sergeant Major Henry David took a twig and turned it into an oak tree, if I can use that terminology.
That's what I read in one story. I think someone else said he was a skinny, shy ninth grader.
Yeah, he was. I mean, and he also played NJB basketball. And he was probably the shortest guy on the team, and I'd always sit at the sides on the games and yell, hands up, and it wasn't for defensive purposes, but it was, and it was to hopefully that he didn't get a knee in the head because he was the shortest guy on the team, and I mean, he gave it 100%, and when he was a kid in soccer, he gave that 100%, and when he played t-ball, he gave that 100%. He went into the military. He went into the Army Reserves, because they basically guaranteed him military police school, so that could help him, get into law enforcement when he was a civilian. And it was his passion, and it was his dream, and that's he really lived to be in law enforcement and to be a cop.
And he'd been on the force about 4 years?
Yes, he was. He's actually physically on the force for 3 years, but they accounted for the year that he was in Iraq when he was there in 2008.
Did he ever have any scary situations during these last 3 years on the force?
He was that kind. He never talked about Iraq, much like I never talked about Vietnam. He never talked about the situations that he was in Iraq. I'm probably going to hear about a lot of these things come Tuesday at the service, because there are people that he was stationed with in Iraq that want to come forth. But he didn't. I asked him several times about different situations within the city of Riverside. And what was I said, come on, what's really going on here? And he would never say. And if his life was in jeopardy at any one given time in those 3 or 4 years, there was nothing my wife and I, he would never ever say anything to his mother or his father.
Is it common that he would be on solo patrol?
It is common for some of these shifts that they were, because the police, the chief of police answered that question yesterday, that it is not uncommon, for them to be out on patrol alone. And if I might add, it was his choice for this particular shift. He didn't care for the day shift, and he didn't really care for the graveyard shift. He did like the swing shift because it gave him an opportunity to do other things other than, just be a cop all day.
Hang on, Joe.
Sure.
Can you hang on for a little while longer?
Sure, no, not a problem.
All right, Joe Bonaminio is the father of the Riverside police officer, Ryan Bonaminio, who was killed Sunday night by Earl Green. They arrested Earl Green at a Target parking lot in Riverside. We'll have more of Joe Bonaminio coming up on the John and Ken Show, KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk radio.